What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the Other Side of the Firewall podcast, where we talk about the latest and greatest of cybersecurity news, as well as we highlight those movers and shakers and glass cylinder breakers, those people of color who've made it to the other side of the proverbial firewall. My name is Ryan Williams. As always, at least for this week, I'm joined by Chris Abacon. What's going on, Chris?
I'm doing fine.
For those who may be tuning in for the first time this week, so Chris is my special guest co-host for the next 2 weeks. Shannon is on vacation, so everybody wish him a happy vacation from some beach somewhere. You know, Shannon doesn't have social media, so we'll never know about his vacation. But super excited. So next 2 weeks I have on Chris, and then both of these weeks I also have an Ask AP podcast episode. So this week will be Darren King Jr. And then next week will be Jay Sanders. So definitely tune in for those as well. So 5 episodes for the next 2 weeks. So hitting you with 10 episodes. So please continue to like, share, subscribe, all that stuff I always forget to say. We're trying to plus up our numbers on YouTube. So we have a couple hundred subscribers. I'm trying to hit 500 before the end of the year. 1,000 would be great, but I'll take what I can get, as well as just sharing the podcast, right? We like the growth that we're seeing, and I want to get more people eyes on the podcast because I think it's beneficial to our audience and our community. So with that being said, I go into topic 2. So this one comes from Dark Reading. It is written by, I always forget to say it was written by Nate Nelson from Dark Reading, and the title of the article is "Another AI Pitfall: Digital Mirroring Opens New Cyberattack Vector." So I'm always up to talk about AI. I love the I love the subject. I love the topic. I have some writing I need to do because I'm supposed to be blogging about it, and I have not gotten back around to it yet, but I will in the near future. But I'm interested to hear what your thoughts about the article are, Chris.
Yes, I mean, we all know AI is literally the hotness right now. So from the beginning of the year when ChatGPT rolled out, it's just been, it's been on fire. NVIDIA stock's up just because of AI alone, right? Because they're actually, my understanding is that they, produce a hardware that powers ChatGPT, right? But
and Microsoft also jumped hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah, and it's crazy how 2022, right, was the when the investment, or at least stocks were going down, or at least from that side of the house, a lot of valuations were going down. People were losing faith. And next, AI comes up, and boom, an entirely new way because it's caught on into the mainstream thought, right? AI has been around for a long time. Machine learning, if then statements, it's been there for a long time, right? SOAR technologies, security orchestration, right? It's been around, automation, right? But in the context of the article, right, it talks about digital twins. So it's like digital assistants, AI assistants, somebody almost like a Cortana, right, from Halo, right?
Right.
But of course, not as, advanced as Cortana just yet, but they're called large language models, right? So like ChatGPT, where really you can just talk to someone, right? You can talk to something rather, not someone, because they're not sentient yet, right? Or yet. Keyword yet, right? But yeah, so the article talks about some of the difficulty, when some of the security aspects, or people that can use large language models in a adversarial or way to do harm to others, or really for personal or for criminal activity, right? So problem is it's difficult to do something like a code review on ChatGPT, right? It's just massive. There's really no continuous monitoring process for these language learning models, because as you're typing, as you're interacting with them, they're constantly changing up, right? So it's definitely it's definitely something new to be abreast of, and really there's a lot of fears for psychological manipulation, really, and I'm sure I'm not a psychology major. Wink, wink. No, but like one of the craziest things from this article is that there was a story, the Eliza case. Well, I think it was the Netherlands or something, or somewhere in Europe, where a man literally became infatuated and enamored with a chatbot called Eliza, and it told it essentially essentially at the end of it, he took his life because of something that the chatbot said to it. And it's like there's these moral implications to AI. So really, how are we going to secure AI? How are we going to use it and work with it and live with it versus this currently there's a little bit of apprehension in AI. Everybody's seen Terminator, right? Like,
You're right.
are
If you
you going
talk
to
to
go to
Shannon,
Sky?
it's
Yeah,
the end of a Skynet.
yeah, it's the start of Skynet, right? But I mean, really, I mean, once we get ahead of this, I mean, I mean, developers, engineers, right? Psychologists, right? We all have to get ahead of this AI game and then really design security with AI in mind, or AI with security in mind, rather. So it's not have to bolt on the security later on after the fact when damage or has already been done. So yeah, it's going to be a wild ride, everyone.
Yeah, yeah, and specifically with this article, it's the mimicking of human behavior, right? So it goes into
Mhm.
it being able to mimic coworkers or things of that nature. So the fear here is that it can fool you, right? Like human beings have a capacity, fire strips any
Mhm.
PC. However, we like socially we are very malleable. We're very able to be tricked by human beings, let alone now these things that'll have infinite capacity to potentially mirror people you know.
Yeah.
And we've already seen the behavior, right? Like Amazon knows what you want to buy before you want to buy it. We talked about in the past how CVS was able to detect if you were pregnant before you knew you were pregnant, just based upon your buying behavior, right? So
Interesting.
it started to send you coupons in the mail for Pampers and things of that nature. And in the article I was reading, it was a younger female. She started receiving these coupons and she was like, what is going on? And it was determined based upon the things she was buying from CVS to treat her symptoms, not knowing she was pregnant, that she was pregnant. And they were able to then market to her more effectively. Um, me and Shannon are always on the opposite side of the fence on this one. Like, I love it. Like, please market to me better. Like, target me. However, the implications of how advanced the large language models are is kind of scary, and the ability to later be manipulated into making you believe that your boss sent you an email or that your coworker is asking you for something specific. I think it really still comes down to just those cybersecurity awareness
Mhm.
training that you have, right? If it doesn't feel right, then it isn't right. Don't click that link. Things of that nature will still help, but its ability to target you so well, I think will be the problem, where you'd be like, yeah, I do have this account, or I do bank with this bank, or yada, yada, yada.
Mhm.
And it knows you well enough where it can potentially hook you into clicking something malicious or sending you a package of some sort that becomes malware. So I think that implication is scary. And then, right, the mental gymnastics to then think about, like, what does the future hold for us? Like, I'm hot on Copilot. Like, I'm sure there will be a lot of other um, offerings from companies, but I know Microsoft is kind of a little bit ahead of the game. I know they're in the news a little bit right now for certain things. However, seeing the diagram on Copilot and how it does not feed back into the large language model, like basically it is your individual AI for your organization, pricey because it's going to charge you a lot of money per employee. However, um, it being tied into 365 and GitHub and all that stuff, and having that security where it's not going back to the mothership, I do like. However, what are the implications, right? So, like you alluded, my undergrad is psychology, so I love stuff like this. Like, my graduate is cybersecurity, so I went back to the motherland. But
Yeah.
I do like the social aspect of how this will impact people, hopefully for the better, right? Like, if you're lonely, you'll have a companion. If you need help, it'll be able to know if you need help, right? Like, no one will know you better than your personal digital
Yeah.
assistant, and potentially can call 911 if it senses you're having some kind of issues, or at least push you towards seeking help, things of that nature. So I think from that aspect, it will be really cool. My fear is the echo chamber, because we already have that in digital media, right? We already have that in your Twitters and now your threads and things of that nature. Like, people gravitate to things that confirm their bias, right? They love it because it just, like, whatever you have, whether it be it's some sort of ism or whatever, you can find a group that is going to pander to your expectations and confirm your biases. And what I'm afraid of is potentially decades from now, right, when you have your own personal Cortana or what have you, which that will be most likely that will be copyrighted, right? Like Microsoft's not gonna let people get away with Cortana, but whatever that thing is, that it just will reaffirm your biases because you won't need other people, right? We saw it in the movie Her, right? That was with Joaquin Phoenix, I want to say. And the voice of the AI was Scarlett Johansson. I really like that movie. I know a lot of people didn't, but he fell in love with his AI, right? Like if you don't have to leave your house, because the pandemic taught us that, like I like that aspect of being able to work remotely and things of that nature, but it's not healthy for everyone. Everyone can't like handle not being around other people, right? We're social human beings. The reason I started a podcast because I was trapped in my hotel, right? I flew overseas, and the policy was you go straight from the terminal straight to the hotel. You do not pass go. You do not get out of here for 2 weeks. And that's when I started the podcast, because I needed to talk to somebody. Even though I like being by myself, I also don't like being by myself in totality, right? I still need an outlet. My fear is that people will stop seeking an outlet once they have an AI companion or two, right? Like, who's to say you can't have an entire an entire social network made up of bots that just cater to you? That would be great for some people, but then they would never interact with real people again.
Maybe that comes in, like, it comes in peaks and troughs, right? Because you're looking at generational differences between even just millennials and Gen Z. We've got different tastes in software. Like I think they came up on Snapchat, and what's the other one, TikTok. We grew up on Instagram, Facebook. So there might be, I don't know, maybe I'm just thinking out loud here, but there might be a future generation that's like, AI, no, that's not for me. I don't want that thing.
Yeah.
I don't want to have to rely on it to do anything, because there's going to be a counterculture to this at some point, right? I mean, there already is, but there's going to be a counterculture maybe in a decade or so, where it's like, hey, we're going to be anti-AI, we're going to be let's go as far as saying anti-computers, right? Like people that want to be off the grid, maybe more, right? So that's just one thing I was just thinking about as we were talking. One other thing, actually, like with Cortana, right, with these digital assistants, we've seen instances where entire social media accounts, let's say Instagram, completely AI generated photos, right? It's the same, email or mail or whatever, and
people that never existed.
People that never existed, their lives, right? Cityscapes and backgrounds generated by AI based on the billions of petabytes of data that's available there for it to draw inspiration from. And so when you combine the visual and then you add a little bit of that personal touch, right, with that large language model, right, it's going to be very, very convincing, right? It's going to be very convincing. And then you're coming in, what's the next step, right? We're talking voice models that can mimic voices of other people that are from history, right? You're already seeing some of this, right? So there's this app called Speechify, right? So if you got problems with concentration, like myself, right, I like to upload some like an article, Speechify, right? And what it does is it reads it out loud for you. But lo and behold, you can actually change the voice. So one of the settings is Gwyneth Paltrow. If you want Gwyneth Paltrow to read to you an article in her voice, right? It's generated. You can listen to Gwyneth Paltrow. But I logged onto it the other day just to see what it was like, because I canceled my subscription because when you don't use something like Grammarly or Speechify, right? But I logged on and I typed in an article. Okay, read this. You know what voice I heard? President Obama's voice. I was like, holy crap. I could listen to this all day. Let's do it. Right. So it just blew my mind. Right. So I think we just definitely got to be transparency is important. Right. So these companies got to be transparent with their AI, with how they process our financial and personal data, right? It's very intrusive to look at our buying habits, right? It's extremely intrusive, right? So there might be at some point where you can do like an opt out, right? Hey, I want to opt out of AI generated responses. I want to opt out of everybody. Like I think Apple's doing a good job with, hey, I don't want my data to be shared with these companies, right? But there's going to have to be a little bit more granularity, right, with AI, because I mean we're still in this discovery scoping process. Right. So
Right. And
it's just,
it's already kind of rolling, right? So like the
yeah,
EU kind of takes the head of most of the stuff now because they're very consumer
yeah,
protective in nature, or at least that's the way they position themselves. But there's already an AI I forget if it's called AI policy or AI regulation. It's already rolled out. They've already voted on it. It's already starting to become a thing. And it will deeply impact these trillion-dollar companies that are kind of pushing AI to the forefront, right? So
right.
the implications are already there. And it's going to be very similar, in my opinion, to GDPR, where
Yeah.
like it will impact everybody, even if you're not a member of the European Union in some respect. Like your data will traverse it, or there'll be consumers or customers that also be over there. So globally, it will still cause an impact. And they're already kind of rolling it out because they want to make sure that whatever this thing becomes, that it doesn't have a substantial impact to the consumer where they can't, as to like you said, opt out or retract their data, or at least know what their data is being used for. Uh, when it comes to marketing and advertising and things of that nature. So it is coming down the pipe,
Mhm.
but obviously one is always quicker than the other. And it seems that we've gone full AI, right? We pivoted like everybody and their mom wants a piece of this potentially $1 trillion market, or beyond, depending on how. Like you said, if we adopt it, or if there's a counterculture to it, which I don't see that yet, but I feel it is going to come. Just like you said, when it comes to they're creating people who've never existed. So um, you'll never, well, I guess I at some point I think they'll have to let us know. They'll have to be transparent. But for the most part, right now they can just create actors, actresses, models, um, like stock footage can just be generated, right? Like now they're getting it down to where it won't have inhuman teeth and fingers any longer, because that was really nightmare fuel. But it's getting it down to like this, these look like people. Like I shared photos with Shannon and Levon not too long ago, where it was like this entire party is made up of fake people.
Yeah.
They're just enjoying life, right? And that can be used for marketing and branding. Those people never existed, right? It's eyes, ears, and noses from, like you said, petabytes of data, where it's
Right.
like, these people are beautiful.
Yeah.
Let's make this person and have them drink our product,
But on
or
the other
sing
side
our
of this,
song.
on the other side of the spectrum of that, like I was playing around with Photoshop. What is it? The beta Photoshop, where you can just literally you can highlight a section, just type something in the generative fill, and then it'll pop up some basically what you told it to do. Right. But I've seen some really bad implementations where it literally it changed my face to like somebody completely different. And it's more like Van Gogh, or, pick some Picasso looking face where my eyes were like this. I mean, it was
Right,
crazy. And I laughed when I saw it. It like you said, it was nightmare fuel, but it also, it can produce a lot of comedy as well. That's what I
right,
was
right.
laughing.
No, like again, because I'm not trying to be counter to, like, I'm really excited about what the potential
Mhm.
future is. It's just that we have to worry about these ethical and moral implications. I mean, down to AI writing episodes of TV shows and movies and things of that nature. Like the Marvel's Secret Invasion, the intros is generative. Like it was made by an AI generative company, made the intro to it. So how many people could have been involved in that process and made money,
Mhm.
right? Like AI literally stealing our jobs, right? It's going to be
Yeah.
the future. And then like you said, or you alluded to, the disinformation. Like how many articles will be potentially generated or written that are made to strike fear, right? Like the War of the Worlds radio podcast made people think that we're being invaded by aliens. And that was just, old school radio programming. So what does the future hold when you can make, very believable photos and video of anything you want to. Like it could literally look like we're being attacked by another country, or even by aliens, or I mean, something silly like mermaids. You can do anything, and people will like potentially believe it. They're like, "Oh,
Mhm.
we're under war." They're out there grabbing their shotguns, ready for the aliens to try to invade their homes. Like the implications are endless. So I just hope that we're going to be respectful, and we're going to be cautious uh, when making these new products and these new things start to develop. But we'll
You think
see.
there's gonna be you could think there's gonna be some like watermarking technology that's gonna say, hey, or something in metadata that might be, put into regulation. Hey, this was created by AI on this day. But
It's
even
going to have to be,
it's
because
gonna have to be, right? Like,
yeah, because when they started doing the deep fakes, when they started doing deep fakes of like you said, President Obama, or they had Tom Cruise,
mm,
and then they had Morgan Freeman. There was something wrong with the eyes. Like it was like the eyes didn't reflect light appropriately or something like that. So there was a university that made AI
sure.
detective software that used the eyes and patterns to detect
Mhm.
it. But even they're saying they're having issues. It's getting that good.
It's getting better. So, I mean,
Yeah.
it's gonna have to be up to regulation, right? So regulation, I mean, it's the only way. I mean, the way I see it right now, uh, uh,
Yeah,
it's
we'll see what the future holds. But
Mhm.
definitely, I appreciate your expert opinion. We'll put it out there. And like I said, I need to circle back around. I need to start putting some of this stuff into Microsoft Word, right? And start to generate some content, because I'm very fascinated by it. I'm always reading about it. I just haven't put pen to paper yet, so to speak. But definitely continue to tune in. I know this one went a little bit long, so it'll be broken in half for the LinkedIn viewers, but that I'd love the conversation. So um, definitely continue to tune in, like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. We're trying to plus our numbers up. So if you're an audio listener, check out the video. Like, go to YouTube and check out our channel and see what you think about that as well. So you can see Chris's beautiful face over here. But also share with your nerdy friends and family. We're definitely trying to broaden our audience and looking for sponsorship in the future for brands and products that make sense for our audience. Because I'm not just trying to do a money grab, right? I don't want to out here selling boxers. Not to say that you don't like boxers. Maybe you do. I don't know. Let me know. But that's not what I'm targeting when it comes to this, right? I'm looking for education, training, products that we actually do use when it comes to consulting and things of that nature. That's what I'm trying to target. So we'll see what the future holds. Hit up all the websites that go by our name. Give me a person. I'm at RY Security Guy. That's RYRY Security Guy. I'm on LinkedIn, Clubhouse, Twitter, and Threads. And you, Chris?
Yeah, I'm on LinkedIn. I haven't established some as many handles as you yet, but LinkedIn for Abacon, it's spelled Abacon, my last name. So I'm probably the first one you'll find. But yeah, you can find me on LinkedIn. Let's connect and talk. I love talking about these topics.
There it goes. So definitely hit up Chris, and his all of his stuff will be in the description as well. Stay safe, stay secure.